Castleside Stories. Thank you for coming today. Today, I'm going to read the story of Frozen. The kingdom of Arendelle was a happy place. The king and queen had two daughters, Anna, that's me, and Elsa, my sister. The girls were their pride and joy, but the family had a secret. Elsa could create ice and snow out of thin air. One night, I convinced Elsa to turn the ballroom into a winter wonderland. As we happily played together, Elsa accidentally lost control of her magic. An icy blast hit me in the head, and I fell to the floor, unconscious. The king and queen rushed us to the trolls, mysterious healers who knew about magic. A wise troll named Grandpappy saved me by removing my memories of Elsa's magic. He explained that I was lucky to have been hit in the head, not in the heart. The troll told the king and queen that Elsa's powers would only grow stronger. Fear will be her enemy, he warned. The king and queen knew they had to protect their daughter. To keep her magic safe, they closed the castle gates. The king gave Elsa gloves to contain her powers, but she was still afraid she might hurt someone. She even avoided me to keep me safe. Then, when we were teenagers, our parents were lost at sea, and we had never felt more alone. Elsa stayed inside, where she could hide her magic, but she could not keep the castle gates closed forever. On the day of her coronation, her subjects were invited inside to celebrate. I was thrilled at the chance to meet new people. I had barely stepped outside when I met Prince Hans of the Southern Isles, and we fell instantly in love. At the coronation ball, Prince Hans asked me to marry him, and I said yes. And we went to ask Elsa for our blessing. But Elsa refused to bless the marriage. She couldn't let me marry a man I had just met. I couldn't believe my sister. Why do you shut me out? What are you so afraid of? I cried. And Elsa fought with me. She lost control of her magic. Ice seemed to shoot out of her hands. Now all of Arendelle knew her secret. Panicked, Elsa fled into the mountains. With her secret out, Elsa let her powers loose. A storm raged around her as she created an ice palace and even changed the way she looked. Below her, ice and snow covered Arendelle. I felt awful. Leaving Hans in charge, I went after my sister. As I trekked through the forest, I lost my horse. Luckily, I met an ice harvester named Kristoff and his reindeer, Sven. They agreed to help me find Elsa. High in the mountains, we came across a dazzling winter wonderland, where we met a living snowman. "I'm Olaf," he said. I realized that Elsa must have created him. I asked Olaf to lead us to Elsa so she could bring back summer. Olaf loved the idea of summer and happily led them to Elsa's palace. Inside, I told Elsa about the terrible winter storm in Arendelle. "It's okay, you can just unfreeze it," I said. But Elsa didn't know how to stop the snow. Frustrated, she cried out, "I can't!" An icy blast shot across the room and it hit me in the heart. Kristoff ran to help me. "I think we should go," he said. At the base of the mountain, Kristoff noticed that my hair was turning white. He knew his friends, the trolls, could help. Grandpappy saw at once that I was hurt. "There is ice in your heart, put there by your sister," he said. "If not removed, to solid ice will you freeze forever." Grandpappy explained that only an act of true love could thaw a frozen heart. I knew Hans was my true love, Maybe a kiss from him would save me. Kristoff, Sven, and Olaf raced me back to Arendelle to find him. But Hans was not in Arendelle. He had set out to look for me when my horse returned without me. Hans and the search party arrived at Elsa's palace. The men attacked Elsa, and she defended herself. Suddenly, one of the men aimed a crossbow at Elsa. Hans pushed it aside, and the bolt hit a chandelier. It crashed to the ground, knocking Elsa out. Hans and his men took her back to Arendelle, locked her in a dungeon. Outside of the kingdom, me and Kristoff, Olaf, and Sven hurried down the mountain. I was getting weaker by the minute, and Kristoff was really worried. At the castle gates, he passed me to the royal servants. He was starting to realize that he cared deeply about me, but he knew that my true love, Hans, could make me well again. I found Hans in the library, and I asked him to save my life with a kiss, but he refused. Hans had only been pretending to love me, so he could take over Arendelle. Putting out the room's fire, he left me there to freeze. In the dungeon, all Elsa could think about was getting away from Arendelle. It was the only way to protect everyone from her powers. Elsa became so upset that she froze the whole dungeon and escaped. Alone in the library, I could only dwell on my mistakes. In trying to find love, had I doomed myself and my sister? Just when I had given up all hope, Olaf arrived. The snowman lit a fire, even though I was worried he might melt. Some people are worth melting for, he said. Olaf looked out the window and saw Kristoff returning. The snowman realized Kristoff was the true love who could save me. Olaf helped me outside, where I spotted Kristoff across the frozen fjord. If I could just reach him in time, I would be saved. But then I saw something else. Hans was about to strike Elsa with his sword. Using my remaining strength, I threw myself in front of Elsa. Hans' sword came down just as my body froze to solid ice. Elsa wrapped her arms around me. "Oh, Anna," she sobbed. Then something amazing happened. I began to thaw. An act of true love will thaw a frozen heart, Olaf said. My love for Elsa had saved us both. "Love," Elsa cried, looking at me. "That's it." Elsa realized that love was the key to her magic. She reversed the winter and brought back summer. Hans was astonished to see me alive. "Anna," he said, "but she froze your heart." "The only frozen heart around here is yours," I said, and sent him reeling with one punch. With summer restored, Arendelle returned to normal. But from then on, the castle gates were open for good. For the first time in a long while, Arendelle was a happy place again. And Queen Elsa and myself were the happiest of all, for we had found our way back to each other. And that's the story of Frozen. Thanks for joining me. I hope I'll see you again soon.